Alright, welcome. So today we have Arachne. Now she has been highly requested, and as well as she's getting a brand new skin in the few weeks to come from the Escape the Underworld event. So let's get right into it, talking about her abilities and how they matter into actually building Arachne. Now, Arachne, she's kind of a mix. She does rely on her abilities quite a bit for her to perform pretty good. So you probably want to build at least one cooldown reduction item. 2 is not really necessary. She doesn't really use her abilities to do damage, if that kind of makes sense. So you probably want to go Dion's Wrath at 20% and then go into just attack speed items, and she does get all of her damage from her basic attacks. Now, reason why you probably want to build, Yoan's Wrath, and reason why the item is pretty popular for Arachne is because you kind of rely on your cooldowns for one. The biggest problem is she has no escape except her ultimate, and if you use her ultimate for ganking, initiating, then you don't have any escape at all. So having that a lower cooldown is really great. And as well as her 2 is her really big steroid, 70% more attack speed, as well as can provide a stun if you manage to land all 3 basic attacks on the single target. And as well as her 3 is her ideal way of catching up to your target, slowing them down, and increasing your movement speed by 40%, which is huge. And of course, slowing their movement speed by 25% for up to 6 seconds, that's also huge. So that is kind of like your Frostbound Hammer / Haste Fatalis. You don't need to build it. The 70% attack speed is only for the next 3 basic attacks. So yes, you can still build attack speed, but you probably don't want to build too much attack speed, where when you pop this, nothing really happens except you have a stun, which can possibly not be useful if you don't manage to land all 3 basic attacks within the time. And then of course her 1, not to leave this out, this does do an incredible amount of burst damage. You pop this, it does initial damage, then a damage per tick, otherwise known as a dot, and then the healing per tick is also a lot of healing. So that's kind of why you probably want to build at least, Yoan's Wrath if you really want to. But you can get away without building cooldown reduction. You can just build the normal assassin like Hollywood. So enough of that, let's go into actually building Arachne. If you're playing her in Conquest, more than likely you are jungling, and if so, the jungler start item is definitely the Bumba's Mask. If you're laning for whatever reason, I'd probably just go Death's Toll, because again, she's more basic attack base, and this will allow you to provide sustain along with your 1. That's if you're, laning for whatever reason. But yeah, more likely just going into the Bumba's Mask for jungling. If you're not in Conquest, then no real need for a starter item, so just kind of disregard this item slot right here, because the build doesn't really change from game mode to game mode. So moving on, you definitely want to go into your boots, or else you're just going to be one slow spider, and just go into the warrior type of boots. We'll be getting our attack speed from, again, our 2 and other items to come. After this, if you do want to go into a cooldown reduction item, the best one for Arachne is Yoan's Wrath, reason being physical power, the mana to complement the cooldown reduction, and the 10 flat pin is pretty good for the early stages of the game. Again, this is an optional item. Some people like it, some people just want to go all attack speed. That is totally up to you. Both routes are fine. For now, let's just go into the Yoan's Wrath, looking for, lower cooldown, so that way we can ensure to chase our target, have our steroids up, and as well as ensure we have a low cooldown on our ultimate. So moving on from here, right now, as of this recording, the meta for both assassins and hunters, the go-to damage item is definitely Kin's Size. This does an incredible amount of power, the flat 40, as well as the power spike as you get from, the attack speed, and the passive just does so much damage. It's just a huge damage spike once you pick this up. It's night and day from having, without this item and then picking it up. So you just go into that. After this, since he is melee based, unlike hunters which are obviously range, you can definitely make use of the stone cutting sword, which is a pretty popular item for some assassins, or just most assassins. Reason being, it's 50 physical power, which is quite a bit, which, with this, allows you to get a lot more damage off on your ultimate. So in case you do use your ultimate to gank, your ultimate contributes 100% of your physical power from your items into additional damage, so that's also great. And of course, it also increases damage on your venomous bite. And as always, having physical power just increases your basic attack damage. The movement speed complements really well with your 3 to ensure you don't really need a haste fatalis between stone cutting sword and your 3, just slowing down your target and increase your movement speed by 40%. And yeah, and of course the passive acts as a way to reduce their physical protections by a flat number instead of percentage based. So you're going to have the 10 flat pin, then you're going to have physical protection removal, which also gives you more physical protection. And then right after this, you can, if you want to, you can go into the Titan's Bane. Ensure you have all the kinds of penetration in the world. And with the Titan's Bane, this allows you to, again, shred tanky targets as well as shred down objectives so easily with the Titan's Bane. And then you can sell Bum's Mask whenever you feel like you don't need it. And then you can just go into whatever flavor items that you want to go into. Again, if you really wanted to go into Haste of Mentalis, you can pick it up. If not, you can go into Offsea as your lifesteal item in case you don't want to really directly depend on your one for your lifesteal and you rather, have it base, no matter what the time is. Then you can just go into Offsea. If you want a lot of spread damage and you don't want to really use your 1 or 2 to clear lanes or jungle camps or whatever, then you can go to the Oboe. There's plenty of other options you can go into as, your last item. Now, let's say the enemy team is pretty squishy. Right, and then you don't really, you probably don't want to go into Titan's Bane, then that's okay, because let's go ahead and get our starter item back so that way things just look appropriate. After, sell the Titan's Bane, whatever, you can go into the Rage, and then you can sell the Bum's Mask, and then you can go into a Deathbringer. You can do something like this. If you don't like Rage for whatever reason, then you can go into a Malice. Both are really strong crit items. And then you could run the crit build instead of going into the penetration. So for now, let's just go ahead and play around with our stats. We have 270 physical power, which is a lot, 1.5 attack speed, which is not too much, but this is how it normally looks like. Again, those are some strong crits. Go ahead, pop R2 for really fast attack speed for next 3 attacks. They're stunned. You can go ahead and use your 1 for additional damage. As you can see, they're just bleeding out. There's all types of damage happening here. And then that's the Malice and Deathbringer, and if you want to go into double pen, like let's say the Titan's Bane along with whatever brawlers, so this would be more of a direct penetration build, you can go into that. That's how that looks like. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course the relics, you definitely want to go into some protective like relics. So Purification's perfect for her since she cannot be CC immune until she ultimates. And then Sanctuary is great no matter what the time is, or you can switch that out with whatever other relic you need. And that's pretty much it. Now let's say you didn't want to go into the Yoan's Wrath, backtrack a little bit. So if you didn't want to go to Yoan's Wrath, a pretty good early game bridge item to bring you into the rest of your build, I personally would say would be Ikavol. This allows you for 1700 gold, really cheap, 30% more attack speed, good flat pin, and then the passive after the full stacks you have 30 additional physical power, and then of course that also steals physical power from your target, so pretty good for ganking. And yeah, you can go into that if you don't want to go into the Yoan's Wrath, and then you can go again with the penetration route. Or if you want both penetration and crit, it would just be like Titan's Bane, and then the other crit item, it can be like Deathbringer, Rage, or Mouse, whichever one you prefer. And you can do something like that. Again, you can do double crit as well. Doesn't really matter. So that is pretty much it. Hopefully it was helpful in providing, what items are good when, some different items for your builds, things like that. Again, if you're a fan of Haste of Mentalis, more power to you. Only thing with this, you do lack power, so you can, get some other power items somewhere else, but it's a pretty good item to go into that if you don't want to go to Hasten and you don't feel like that's necessary, then the other option is the Frostbound Hammer, kind of achieving the same effect, except the Frostbound is going to provide both power, 300 health, which is a lot, and again, this will also reduce the attack speed of your target. So that's pretty much it. Again, hopefully it was helpful, if I can speak English, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.